And joining me now is a lovely lady, Tiffany Justice, the co-founder of Moms for Liberty. Tiffany, great to see you and thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you today.
Absolutely. So share with our listeners about Moms for Liberty because I think your organization is doing incredible things, so needed right now. But tell us a little bit about how you got started. And because it's a wonderful organization, I know that there's a great story behind it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story. Tina and I are both moms. I have four children. Their ages now are 18, 15, 13, and 11. But when all of this started, before I ran for school board, my youngest was 4. And so I had kids in public school. I was volunteering there a lot. And I saw a couple things. I saw that the hallways were flooding. So you'd have kids that would come into the classroom the next day after a rainy day and their shoes would still be wet. And there was no need or reason for it. It could be fixed. And we had a number of issues with some vermin in the cafeteria that wasn't very pretty. And so I went to the principal and I said, gosh, can we get this fixed? Like, why is the school district not fixing our school? I don't understand. And she said, well, the principal said, they don't really like when you ask too many questions. Like they get up, and we've been on the capital outlay plan, which is a planning document that school districts use for all of the facilities that they have. So we've been on this capital outlay plan for 5 years, but we keep getting bumped off. And I said, okay, well, I don't have a problem if the district gets mad at me. So I'm going to go and I'm going to ask them what's going on. And so I did. And I got a group of moms and dads together to help me. And then they tried to shut the school down. One of the school board members said, maybe the property's worth more, that maybe we'll just tear the school down rather than rebuild and or add on, and we'll just move it off the island. I live on a barrier island, and it's the only public school on the island. And I said, over my dead body, will you shut this school down? There are people who send their kids to school here who went to school here. And so we fought for the school and we got it completely renovated. And then someone said to me, you should run for school board. It was actually a serving school board member at the time. And I said, oh, no, I'm not going to run for school board. Why would I, I've never thought about doing that. And I didn't come from a political family, right? So it's not something I'd ever been involved in. But I ran and I won. Tina, similar story in that she was volunteering at her child's school, getting involved, started a PTO there, which is different than a PTA. PTA is woke, so don't go down the PTA route. But it was a PTO, which is a parent-teacher organization that has a little bit more autonomy, and decided to run for school board. And so 2 women, we didn't know each other before we started Moms for Liberty. We had met like once. We're not friends or anything like that, but similar experiences serving on school boards from 2016 to 2020. Tina ran again. She lost. In her race, there was actually a teacher, and the teachers union was very, very, very supportive of the one person and not so supportive of Tina. I did not run again because I just thought, I needed an army on school board. I was on the downside of a lot of votes. And so Moms for Liberty was born.
This is fabulous. Now, tell us a little bit about your mission today, Moms for Liberty, and what you're really supremely focused on.
So we're fighting for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights at all levels of government. What we know to be true is if you don't have fundamental rights recognized, like the right to direct the upbringing of your child, we have fallen very far as a country, and that's not something, there's no future that can be built on that.
Tiffany, I am very concerned about what's happening in the schools. I have children myself, and I'm a grandmother, which has been the greatest time of my life. My little granddaughter, she's 4 years old. She'll go to kindergarten, and I'm very concerned. So for someone like me who's thinking, I ought to get involved on the school board, you have that experience. What does it take? Take us through. Give me some advice, and maybe perhaps some of our listeners who are also interested in stepping up. Grandparents certainly can participate.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
yeah,
what does it look like, and what would you recommend?
Yeah,
Yes.
well, first of all, I'd recommend to find your local Moms for Liberty chapter or consider starting one. The mission statement is no lie. We unify, educate, and empower, but you need to bring people together in order to be able to make change happen. You can't do that on your own. One person can't make the change that needs to happen. So first I'd say get Moms for Liberty going, and everyone has a role to play. So running for elected office isn't for everyone, but it certainly is for some people. And I think it's for some people that didn't even realize that it was something that they should or could be doing. And so I say to anyone, it's a wonderful experience. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about your community. You learn a lot about government. And there's no doubt that there are people who have skills inside of themselves that they could be using on a school board. And you don't have to have a background in education. So, if you were an accountant, if you were a lawyer, if you were a doctor, if you were a mom, if you are a mechanic, you have a voice in your child's education. You should be involved in your child's education, no matter what your educational background is. And you should step up to serve your community, because this government doesn't work well without us, because we are the government. We make up your community and your government and your representatives. So, we really felt at Moms for Liberty that rather than complain about, not being represented well in government, that we would step up and run. I ran, Tina ran, two other friends of ours, moms who have little kids, were on school board, and now, we're inspiring other people to hopefully run. Leadership Institute is a wonderful organization that does school board training. If anyone would like to learn more about what it looks like to run for school board or to think a little bit more about serving in elected office, Leadership Institute is a great place to start.
Excellent. These are fabulous resources. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I do want to ask a little bit about, we see this incredible shift or move toward homeschooling in America. And, when I was a young girl growing up, very few people, I don't think I knew anybody who was homeschooled. Today, that seems to be very common. In your view, do you think that the public school systems can be fixed? Or do you see the nation going toward, a walking away or dismantling the current public school system? The public school system is a mess, it seems.
The public school system is a mess. And if you're a business person and you're listening to this podcast, just think about if you made a product and 2/3 of the time that product failed. You wouldn't be in business any longer. If you were a surgeon and 2/3 of the people that you operated on didn't make it off the operating table, I don't think that you would be allowed to have a medical license for very long, but yet we have rampant educational failure happening across the United States. And the people that are in charge not only get to stay in charge, but we give them more money when they fail. We need to completely change the way the public education system works in America. But I do believe it is a fundamental value to America to invest in educating the children. They are our future. You are absolutely right about homeschooling. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do. We have a lot of different moms who are members of our organization, a lot of moms that have pulled their kids out that are homeschooling, that are still running chapters, but a lot of moms that can't homeschool. Especially during COVID, we saw there were a lot of people that were considered essential employees that needed to go to work. We do have a lot of single moms that join us. And so for them, homeschooling may not be a reality. But I think that what's happening now with education savings accounts kind of, catching like wildfire across the country is putting putting money into the hands of parents to be able to really make the best choice for their own child. And I think all of this comes back down to the fundamental right of the parent to direct their education of their child.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do. I just think it's fabulous. Moms for Liberty, I'm encouraging people to check out that website.
Thank you.
Tiffany Justice, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent.